Welcome back. A local filmmaker is in a race against time. Keith Maitland is here with me this afternoon, hoping to raise $7,000 in just 3 days to finish a very unique documentary with eyewitness accounts of the 1966 shootings from the UT Tower. Good afternoon to you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. So you're a UT grad yourself.
That's right.
And tell me about the project.
Yeah, well, growing up here in Texas, going to UT, I was always very curious about the events of that terrible day in 1966 that we'd kind of growing up hearing about, but I'd never really heard the direct story. And a few years ago, Texas Monthly put out an article that was an oral history of all the people on the ground that day. Reading that article really opened my mind to a way to tell this story in a way that would really impact today's generation of UT students and college students everywhere, because this was America's first school shooting. So we optioned the article from Texas Monthly, and using that as a basis, we're now going out to create Tower, a documentary that looks at the events of that day through the eyes of the people on the ground, the heroes, survivors, and witnesses of the Tower shooting.
How do you begin to find these people?
Well, that was part of the reason we optioned the article. The article was written by Pamela Koloff, who's an incredible writer, and she had tracked down dozens of witnesses. And so by connecting with her, we were able to start with that list. But then through the process of just talking about the film here in town, I actually came here on the news last August 1st to talk about it, and people have really been finding us. So we'll go to cocktail parties and talk about the project, and invariably someone will say, oh, my uncle was there, or I had a professor who was there. And so we're just tracking down a lot of leads, literally talking to dozens of people, and every week we discover somebody new who has a unique perspective on that day.
And one of the unique things about this documentary is how you are putting the images that match what those you've interviewed are saying. So how are you doing that? How are you coming up with the video to recreate?
Yeah, well, these dramatic recreations that we're shooting are mostly animated. And so what we're doing is we're mixing archival footage from that day with newly created rotoscopic animations. And we're working with animators here in Austin who have worked on this technique for years. You may know it from the Richard Linklater movies, Scanner Darkly and Waking Life, or from my last documentary, The Eyes of Me, where we also utilize this technique. But what it does is it paints a visual picture over live action video, so that we can create a dreamlike quality to these recreations, and it allows us to really kind of nail details from that day and also create an intimate relationship between the audience and these personal stories.
What stage are you at in this process?
Well, we're still at the early stages of production. We've basically shot just enough to create a teaser to go out and start fundraising, and the fundraising campaign that we're launching right now, or that we're almost at the end of right now, is to create a significant chunk of the film, about 20 minutes of completed film, so that we can continue our negotiations with PBS and with other funders. Our goal is that this film airs nationally on the 50th anniversary of the shootings in 2016 on PBS.
And to make that happen, you need how much more money?
Well, we only need $7,000, but we need it in the next 3 days. So we've been on a crowdfunding campaign for the last month, and we've raised over $36,000. We recently made we had some generous UT alums come to us and offer us a match grant, saying that they would match dollar for dollar every contribution made between today and Wednesday. So we need a total of $14,000 to get to the finish line, but $7,000 will get us matched up with our grantors, and we'd get there. So.
And where can people go right now to donate?
Well, our campaign is on Indiegogo, so it's Indiegogo.com, and you can search Tower, or you can go right to our Facebook page, which is Facebook.com/Tower Documentary, and that will guide you right to the Indiegogo campaign.
Perfect, Keith. Thank you so much for coming in this afternoon. If you missed any of that, we're going to put it on our website a little bit later this afternoon on KXAN.com, and we'll be back right after the break with more news and weather.